We're live now?
I think so.
All right, Thomas. Thank you, Thomas. Hello, yate siya Richard DeCrane siya. Kita chini ba siya ching gagi din sila. Ashin da siya che gagi din da siya nalakuteya din sila. Aro lay sayara is nasha. Kuteya din sila. Hello, everybody. We're gonna here to continue our talk about powwows. I know we were going through the different categories. Last week we talked about the fancy shawl. It's usually one of the last categories that dance. And yeah, so now we're moving on to the next dance category that usually comes through the grand entry, which is the Tiny Tots. Tiny Tots are usually at the end of the big, procession of dancers coming into the dance arena. It starts with northern traditional and southern traditional and women's traditional. Before that, it usually starts with the elders. And and this keeps on going down the line as far as grass dancers. Then probably Prairie Chicken, and then women's jingle, women fancy, men's fancy, and so on and so forth, like that. But anyway, it's kind of a timeline of how they, kind of how they came into. Usually, it's a timeline how these from I guess more contemporary dance styles to the oldest, which is being traditional, and the newest being fancy dancers, the war dance and fancy shawl. Then going on to the young kids, Tiny Tots, usually teens, and then into pre-teens, say elementary type kids, and then into the Tiny Tots, which are the smallest, the last group that usually comes into the dance circle. It's a lot of fun, if you ever get to see one of our powwows or our gatherings. It's something to see, something to witness. And the Tiny Tot kids are usually at the end, but they're like one of the most important part of the powwow. That, and saying that, it's we as dancers, as natives, it's good to see the young kids, especially the really young ones, carrying on our traditions and our cultures through the dances. And I always look forward to seeing that. And Tiny Tots being one of the most important dancers out there, I really have a respect for them, and their honesty, I guess, and their innocence is very important. Like I've said many times, our dances are for healing and for what was that? Was that a ding? I think laptops dinging. But anyway, yeah. So Tiny Tots. I remember when my kids were Tiny Tots, Violet and Thomas. We had them come out and dance, and it was a lot of fun to see the young kids, dance. At that age, they're really really absorbing all the things around them. That's why they say it's really important to care for them, to really show them love and affection, because they're seen all around them, and they're learning and constantly learning. And it's also a good time to speak their language, or the language, your tribal language or your native language to them, so they can absorb that and learn that, and get that fluent in them at the young age. And even just teaching them young small things, will help them a lot. I think at that time, Tiny Tots are just growing into a lot of their, the clothes that we make for them. It's always good to make them just a little bit bigger, or not too snug, not too tight. I know when we make regalia for the young little ones, we try not to make it too heavy, because we don't want it to weigh down on them as they're still growing and stuff. So a lot of their outfits are really light lightweight. I've seen people that do a lot of beadwork and then make a beaded outfit and try to put it on the baby. But they, usually they'll have it on as just for like a picture, and they'll take it off. And then when they come in, they have lighter regalia, so they'll stunt their growth, or they'll keep them from growing. It's always good to think about that if you make um, outfits or dance regalia for young kids, for young tiny tots. Um, and it's always something to see a little cute tiny tots. And sometimes you'll see parents will come in with their tiny tots because they're still too young to dance on their own. They only can last a little bit, and they'll be carrying them. I remember when I was young, I even would at times I would have to bring the stroller in with with Thomas in it, and then Violet was dancing behind me or beside me, and sometimes she would dance in beside me, and stay close to me because we really didn't know anybody. Maybe we were at a different powwow, and I didn't know too many people. And then we come in and do grand entry. I remember one time, kind of a funny story. I think my phone. Oh, I think someone's trying to call me. Hopefully my camera doesn't go off. Thomas, can you check my phone? My phone is my camera right now, but if it goes off, hopefully someone's trying to put it on do not disturb. But anyway, I have a few different stories about tiny tots, that I wanted to share. I know my wife, this is my wife's idea sometime. She said, "Oh, why don't you talk about the tiny tots?" I didn't even think about it, and it's like, oh yeah, they're one of the most important young people, young kids, that come into the dance arena. They're everything we do, everything that we do as adults, they're watching, they're learning, then they'll mimic and do what we do, whether it's good or bad, So always be doing things good in a good way, in a good teaching, because that's what you are. You are the teacher. They look up to you. They'll be watching you, and they'll do what you do. And if you're doing something bad, they'll do something bad too. And it's just something to know. It's something to learn. Even raising your voice, or even small things like you think they don't hear, or say something, and then all of a sudden a few minutes later they're repeating what you said, in that same tone, I don't know, condescending or whatever it is, or gossip. If you're gossiping, they'll repeat your gossip. So the young kids are really funny. At the same time, they're really innocent and young, and they learn a lot from us as people, and something to learn. Something as an adult you need to learn, that you can learn. For me, I've got my experience because I have two kids. Some people don't have kids yet, and are going to have kids, but in the meantime, just kind of share my family perspective. And like I said, this is an open discussion. You can share maybe a story or something if you guys want in the comments. I really appreciate some of the comments, and I think thinking about that, I had a kind of a funny story. I think we're at this one powwow, Pachanga, and I think Karen was still at work, and then me and the kids were headed to this powwow called Pachanga in Temecula. Probably saying it wrong. Pachanga. But anyway, we were kind of running late, and it was just me and the kids. And Thomas is a little baby, and we hurried up and got ready, and got dressed, and we had found our spot, and we were sitting with some friends, and my friend, I think it was Lena Begay, at that time. I asked her if she could just watch Thomas while I come in real quick and do grand entry. Then I would run back as soon as, because they were taking points for contests, and I wanted to get my points, for my contest that I was going to do. And I just went in and, but that time, the worst thing happened. I think, not to embarrass anybody, but Thomas, we had to change his diaper because he was really stinky, and so it ended up. My good friend Lena had to change his diaper, and it was really a rank one, just to kind of laugh about it. And so I came back. I was like, "Oh, what happened?" I said, "Oh, I had to change his diaper. He was really stinky." And I was like, "Oh no, I'm so sorry. I really didn't want her, to do something like that." It was because it was my job as a dad, and Violet just kind of smiled. It was kind of a funny story, things we do, as friends, powwow friends. And like I said, the powwow, sometimes there's people that we might not know there, but at the same time, we have a lot of friends and family that were able to take care of our kids. I know there's always this joke about, when you get there, you have all these relatives looking over your kids, watching your kids. If they do something bad, you'll be the first one to hear, this kid is being naughty over here. Who is that? Or, but yeah. Anyway, that's kind of a funny story, little poop story. I think I have a couple more poop stories about little tiny tots. It's just kind of funny stuff. Where was I at? I think I have one more. When I was not my kid, it was my brother's little girl, and then we were in at a powwow, ASU powwow, and it was kind of funny. Because I was there and we were there. My mom, and my dad were behind us, and we were all sitting in like a row, and on the side, it was kind of open area. And then my niece, I don't know, I guess she had to use it really bad. Her dad went somewhere, and so we were watching her, and all of a sudden we looked to one because we saw something kind of weird. We were like, "What's going on?" And we looked to one side, and then all of a sudden my niece, pretty much pulled down her pants and took a poop right there in our canopy. So we were like, "Oh no!" You know how we are. Got all embarrassed, and she did her thing, and then she just pulled her pants up, like, "Oh no, what happened?" And we just kind of, cleaned it up really quick. But it was just kind of funny. She was a tiny tot, and she just kind of pulled down her diaper. And she was, potty trained, and that was good. We didn't know whether to get mad at her or say good job, because she, didn't poop in her pants, which would have been worse. So it was kind of a funny story that happened. And and it's kind of funny because all the people were around us too. It was fully crowded. I mean, there was canopies all around us, and other people were sitting next to us, and it was kind of funny. She did that really quick, and we didn't notice until we smelled the smell, and we're like, "Oh no!" We freaked out, and it was kind of a funny story. Another kind of funny poop story. But anyway, sorry kids. I don't mean to talk about the young kids like that, embarrass anybody. But anyway, it's just kind of funny to see young kids. And a story like that. Thinking about the young kids, I think we have a dance class. I keep talking about the Soaring Eagles dance class. Our dance, and wherever you're at, you have your own dance class. You have young kids, and teaching them how to dance. I think sometimes it's hard to get the young people to dance. I think it's really important for if the parents or the parent or the guardian, whoever's watching them, to actually get out there and dance. If you want your kids to dance, it's important that you as a parent or you as a guardian get out there and dance and kind of show them and be that role model, be that person that's out there. And it makes the young kids feel good too that we're all dancing in community, and that's what it's all about. Coming together as community and sharing our dance culture, our dance ways, and getting out there. And it's really important for the young kids to see the adults, not only the adults, the older kids out there dancing, so they feel they have that sense of belonging. And it's one thing I always try to tell the parents, if you want your kids to dance and they're kind of scared, you got to get out there yourself and dance or take them with you. And many times I had to do that with my young daughter Violet. As a young kid, we were new to the powwow back in the day, and I wanted her to dance, so I would get out there, and I would be chased out by my wife. I would, get out there, go and take her, because so I end up learning, also getting my dance regalia and my dance stuff together, and going out there and dancing with her. And we with dance, we travel the little powwow circuit as young as she was, and I took her wherever I could, whenever I could. We went and danced, and even when her mom was at work, we danced. But I always had friends and relatives that were able to watch the kids for a second if I had to use the restroom, or that I sat by, and I really appreciate those people. Even grandparents, I would watch them. I remember my good my family, my grandpa Joe Morris, and Charlotte. They would watch Violet or Thomas, and they would babysit for a little bit. While I had to go run around or run to the car or whatever, bring stuff in. And I was really thankful for the family members in the community that were able to help me out when I needed them. I remember many times I had to just take the stroller straight into the grand entry and do it that way, and just so I could get my points. But it was a lot of fun. I don't have any regrets. As far as my kids growing up, and at the same time, it's kind of funny. I see other families that will bring kids into the arena, but sometimes there's also just thinking about uh, little kids and tiny kids. They I think there's a teaching that's out there too that that I know that I learned that you're not supposed to just let your kids go in by themselves. Because in that circle, it's a ceremonial place, where we make the connection with the Great Spirit, and they say if you have a tiny tot or a young, really small kid that's really young, and you put them in that middle of that arena by themselves, that gives Creator, that says you don't want your kid no more. The Creator will take him back, or you want the kid to be taken back. And it's kind of a teaching that I was taught, that you don't take your little kids, like really small kids. I'm talking about the babies, like really tiny babies, newborns, into the arena, because of that, that kind of a teaching that they'll be taken by a lot of the spirits that are in that arena, or they'll be taken by the Creator Himself. And so there's a teaching in that, and some people, I've been to a few powwows that the arena director or other people or the folks would stop people from going into the arena with that really small child, and just make them go to the side. And sometimes people get offended or hurt by that, because our kids are very important to us, and they're very and we go in. I know my good friend Devin would come in with his kid, but he would have his son in a little pouch, and he would dance with him, and the baby would be in the pouch or in the back, and it was really cute and really nice. And I guess in his way, his teaching was a little different than where he was at. And I know he was challenged a couple of times, and he got a little upset, but at the same time he was respectable and learned to be that way. And each dance circle or dance arena is different. Whether the host powwow or host a community that is holding it, and you always try to abide by their rules or their regulations. I know some we call them celebrations or powwows, or sometimes they're society dances. I know if you go up to up in North Dakota, we have the Little Shell powwow, and the Rikara, the Mandan, the Hidatsa. They have their dances, and they have a society dance. Your society comes and makes this dance, and they're only allowed to go one way. A lot of times, if you go to like South Dakota or kind of in the Dakotas, basically they would go counterclockwise versus going clockwise. Yeah, but that particular arena is only going one way, because that's how the society has blessed the arena in that certain way. And so you gotta be mindful and respectful of the communities that you go into. Is always important to learn and know before you just get out there and dance. And that's just one teaching. Our kids are very important, but as really newborn babies, they shouldn't be out there. That, like I said, they're really but at the same time, around here, it's we do what we can to try to stick with the rules that are out there, the protocols, and try to go by it and the best we can as young kids. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that little learning that I was taught, about the young kids, really young kids. I mean, like, little babies. But yeah, so I think kids, in general, they're really cute. They're really precious, and they really absorb stuff when you dance and you show them songs. And if you can bring them to the arena, I know a lot of young kids will actually fall asleep when we're singing or drumming, and that beat or that rhythm will really put them in kind of a trance and make them fall asleep. I know many times I would be holding like Thomas when he was a little older, tiny tot, and I would, he would just fall asleep. Like I barely go around one time around the dance circle when kind of injury, and then he would fall asleep in my arm, and I'm like, my arm is dying, and I'm still going. And I see a lot of women that do the same thing. Their kids will fall asleep, and some people, they see outsiders, non-natives, would be next to the drum, like with their ears covered, like, oh no, this is too loud for me. And here then the babies are right next to him, just sleeping and crashed out. I know a lot of young kids that will just fall asleep and feel that that rhythm of the drum beat reminds them of their mom's heartbeat, and so it makes this very soothing for them. And I know some people will also have earmuffs for the baby, just in case. Sometimes you get some of these PA systems are super loud, super like will blow your your eardrum out as you're walking by the speaker, and sometimes they put it like perfect ear, so it goes right straight. And I usually like do this number to block my ears. It's always important to take care of your kids' hearing, especially in the powwows that have the PA system with a really blasting sound system. Sounds good and everything, but it's not good for the young kids' hearing. At the same time, just be respectful and mindful of that. If you have young kids, dancing out there, it's all fun until they lose their hearing. But anyway, it's a lot of fun seeing the young kids, the dance regalia, and I know around here we have a powwow, Saboba powwow. They have, I know when it's been like 2 years. I think they didn't have it 1 year. I don't remember why, but then they had it at a baseball field. But anyway, it's one of my favorite powwows. And I like to go over there because usually is it on Saturday? Saturday grand entry at 1 o'clock. It would be actually the Tiny Tots would do the grand entry, and it's a lot of fun to get your young kids dressed and out there and ready. And it's really cute because they have these little young kids. I remember my nephew Thunder Garcia was asked to carry the flag or the eagle staff. They had this little bitty eagle staff, and it was cute because he carried it in, and they had another kid with a little flag, and it was kind of cute. They led in the procession of little dancers, and they all came in and did a whole circle, and they stopped and they did the flag song, the victory song. And then it was a lot of fun, and then they went right back out, and then it was the regular grand entry. But it was a really fun time. I think I've seen that a couple other places, but I remember it most here at the Sapoba Powwow. It's one of my favorites, and I remember my kids always getting them dressed so they could make that. And sometimes my kids weren't with me, and I was like, oh, okay, I can take a break and take it easy, and I don't have to worry about making it on time for grand entry. I can take my time getting dressed. But at the same time, it's a good really good something to see. Little Tiny Tot powwow. I know they do it at the ASU powwow too. I think Savea and Tawny were talking about that the other night, and I was watching their program. I remember they did that with the Tiny Tots leading in the grand entry at 1 o'clock, and doing it that way, because a lot of times a lot of the kids will dance during the daytime. If you ever get to go to some of our powwows, the kids are usually some of the first to dance in the daytime, and then towards the evening will be medium adults, the adults, and then the senior adults and the golden age, and so seeing them dance and do that, it's a lot of fun to see. And that's two powwows that I can think of that still do that, where they have the grand entry of the Tiny Tots, and it's a lot of fun to see. I mean, if you could probably look up video and watch some of the young kids too, that you'll see. I know, thinking about young kids and when they're all dressed and nice and fancy, I know that's when the mama bear or papa bear comes out. You gotta watch these people, especially these tourists. You gotta attack the tourists when they come and try to take a picture of your kid. It's kind of disrespectful to take pictures of other people's kids, and especially when I don't know what it is about the tourists. They come in and they think they can take pictures of our kids. It's just kind of is annoying at times as a parent, as a person. You don't want them to take a picture. Usually sometimes I'll just go block the camera like that or something, and then I'll tell them that they shouldn't be taking pictures. They should get the permission of the adults or the parents before they take a picture, because a lot of times you don't know where these photographs go to, and sometimes you'll have the MC or the arena director will take care of that. But at the same time, if you have a good one, then they'll announce that, and tell the people not to take pictures of kids that are not your own. Get permission. It's just a good thing. You don't want your kids photographed on the internet or whatever. And it's something to think about. And sometimes we get angry and mad, but at the same time, people need to learn. Me taking a picture of my kid. Right. Anyway, that's just kind of a funny thing that I always, have dealt with, and I've gone, kind of got angry a little bit and told them to delete their photo. Yeah. Some people get really crazy and tell other people to delete that photo right now. And poor, camera guy's like, okay. Clicking back, and they'll delete it. It's kind of funny sometimes to see. I've seen that a few times. Some really mean grandmas or aunties will get like that. Even uncles will get like that too. and it's just something to witness. Sometimes you see stuff as you're standing there waiting for your time to go into grand entry. Yeah. And it's a good times to always think about the times that we were able to um, see that, and it was fun to see a lot of the kids, the beadwork, as they get older. I know our kids they were luckily lucky enough to have beadwork and parents that really cared for them. You can tell that people or the grandmas or aunties or uncles that do the beadwork for the families. You'll see them all really nice, decked out, full of beadwork and really looking really good, and hair fixed, hair braided. I think that's another thing I wanted to tell. Sometimes you get a lot of dancers that kind of get lazy, and those times that's when the little kids will look and see you when you didn't do your hair all the way when you're coming into grand entry, and sometimes that bothers me a little bit. At the same time it doesn't, but at the same time the kids are always watching. Like I said, have respect for the outfit or the feathers that you wear when you do come in to do powwows and stuff like that. I think we're going to be having our Soaring Eagles dance class via Zoom again tonight, Tuesday, right, at 6. So that'll be a lot of fun. We have the kids coming out and dancing, and we do the best we can. I know a lot of kids don't have good cameras or quality cameras. A lot of them are using the iPads or whatever they have at home to be able to get on Zoom and to be able to dance and share. I know many kids, that have gone through our program as far as Soaring Eagles that went from Tiny Tots to adults to going to college and or having their own babies and having their own Tiny Tots. That's how long, this dance program has been going on. And there's a few young kids that are out there right now that have young ones or having young ones right now that I always kind of think, wow, it's come full circle. And they're bringing them back. They're bringing those young little kids back to our dance class because they had such a good time of sense of feeling. And then I think that's the biggest thing that we get out of having our dance class and our dance society and the community that's formed, with the families and the bond that we share. It's a lot of fun, and then especially when we go out and do things like dance at parades or do performances or even be at the powwow together. It's good to us to have the community come together. I know we've been doing our best to always have a canopy or something set up so our dancers and our families can have someplace to go, because not all of us have canopies. I know that's kind of a thing around here in California and like Arizona and New Mexico to have a canopy, a setup like that to have shade. But if you go anywhere else back home, they have really big dance arbors that people just bring chairs and that's it. They don't bring canopies. But I know it's a little different around here. In this area, you have to have a canopy or claim your spot almost. It's kind of funny. I think I told that story a while back about those people running in with their canopy in one hand and trying to charge to get their ideal good spot. And it's good to have, if you have a connection with a family, a community of people that can help you out. I remember we used to do that a lot. One person would go early and we used to give them all our canopy and they would set up in a certain area for us, and it was kind of easy for the families. I try to help out with that, try to do that, and hopefully that's something we can keep on doing. It's always a good thing to be able to take care of our families. So that's what the sense of community happens for us as Indian people. I think that's always something to think about. That's the way I've always I've thought is always like. What's good for the people or what's good for the community that I live in, what's good for my native people, versus, I think a lot of teachings in Western world, when you watch TV, it's all about I or me, what can be done for me. But us Indians are always talking about the community and working together and taking care of ourselves and also, our environment and stuff. And so it's a big difference too, if you really think about it, us as native people and coming together. And our dance classes is really important for our families and the young ones, the young kids, to see them, for us to pass on our traditional teachings, our dances, our music, for them to learn and be able to dance and put together outfits. It's really a beautiful thing to see, especially when we get to witness that during the grand entry or the powwows when the young kids are dancing. It makes me feel really good, really think about that. young people dancing for us old people that dance no more. Whether we got hurt or injured or not feeling good, when we see those young kids dancing, it makes us really feel good. That our traditional, our culture is, being passed on to the young kids. It makes us feel good. And so, and that's the power of our dance class and our native community that I want to keep on pushing towards and keep on growing. And I know here in San Diego we got military families that come in for a few years and then they have to leave, or they're stationed somewhere. Myself, luckily, I didn't leave. I would have probably left. Maybe actually I did leave and I came back to this community, and I know a lot of communities, family members that have done that have come through our dance class, and our sorting have gone. And later on, I've seen them in other places, other powwow or gatherings, and I'll be able to talk to them and have that relationship. And so, yeah, I think that's my little talk about Tiny Tots. If you guys ever, like I said, if you guys want to share anything, little stories, that'll be really a lot of fun. And always have some funny stories about our Tiny Tots and my kids, especially, and my my nieces and nephew. And it's kind of funny. I think another one's real quick story is kind of to talk about the Barona powwow. Every year, Barona powwow we have it's the cutest thing because we'll have that switch dance. And I remember one year I had a little niece and nephew switch. One was a jingle dress and one was a chicken dancer. It was just really super cute to see them dancing there in the switch dance. And it was kind of funny. I think it was who was it? A little Adrian too. He really did good at traditional, or was it he dancing jingle, something like that. But he was really funny. And I remember a lot of the kids, we as community, that was one of the fun things that we did, and we always laugh and had a good time. It's for us to have a good time and the kids have a good time. And doing that switch dance during the Corona and seeing the kids out there and dancing, it was really, really funny. I remember we couldn't stop laughing. We kept laughing and laughing and laughing. Everybody was, just having a good time. That's one really good story that I can share. But yeah, I think just seeing all the kids and what they do, what they mean to us, and as elders, that's what we. No, I was reading what Karen. Oh, I think. Oh, I better read the messages. Sometimes I just keep talking and don't even read the messages. Oh, Marine said hello, LOL. Gloria said, in Junia or in Junugo, Dango. I don't know how to say this. I think it's Apache. Hey. And then Marine said, I like two-step and seeing the kids grab. Oh, yeah, that's always fun to see the young kids grab a partner. And the little kids, the Tiny Tots, doing the two-step. That's kind of funny. It's not funny, but it's really super, super cute and adorable to see that. And also, I wanted to mention that the UCSD and SDSU powwow is sponsoring a Tiny Tot contest. If you have your little kid, your Tiny Tot, I think it's under 6 and under, that has dance regalia. I think we're having a little bit of contest. There's 3 places. I know it's like 100 for first place, 75 and 50. So so if you want your kids, so bring out your kids so they can dance. That money can go to buying lunch or whatever, or buying that material that you need to make their next outfit. Participate in that. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope to see a lot of young Tiny Tots and participate in that dance. It's more, it's not for the competition. It's more for us as a community to heal, to see that. I know right now a lot of us are, we're almost. I don't want to say we're done with this pandemic, but we're over the hill a little bit, and a lot of us got our vaccines and got our first shot. I know I'm getting my second shot in 2 weeks. I'm thankful for that, and a lot of people have already got their second shot, and I'm thankful, and hopefully we're getting into I think we're red, now we're an orange tier or colored, so we're able to gather in 25% more. I think that's what it is, 200, and so hopefully, okay. Yeah, it's Eastern Apache. So I was gonna say Azuna. Yeah, that's how I would say Navajo, with a H, Dazonia or Dajono, probably is how you say it. in the Apache language. We almost got the same, a different dialect. I can kind of understand when the Navajo and the Apache speak. I think the Apaches have an older way of speaking that language, and it's a lot faster if you ever get to hear them talk. They'll talk really fast. If you hear them go to one of their prayers or something, then they'll like go a million miles a minute talking that language, and it's really something to, if you can understand it and learn and kind of know. It's really interesting to see. I know I've gone to a few people. I know a few people that are Apache people that speak their language. I know my good friend. I guess he's a doctor. Earl Cisco, when you ask him to pray, he has that really powerful prayer, and his language is really fast and really fluent. It's just like in Navajo, like, oh man, it's a fast language. But anyway, I digress. Going back to our talk, Tiny Tots. I really, yeah. So we're having that competition at the virtual powwow. So submit your videos. I think you can sign up on the website. I think you sign up and you have to have a sign, just to prove, that you're actually doing it and not recycling your video. Because I got a lot of people that do the virtual dance, and they're starting to recycle their video, and we've been trying to combat that by having like the newspaper thing where it has the date, but instead of it's a paper that says the name. And what dance category are you doing? Tiny Tot. I think that's the only thing we asked for, and you can hashtag it, and then we'll post it to the Facebook page, and then I think it's gonna be a little bit contest. So it's really good to see that those young kids dance and participate, and I always look forward to seeing the young Tiny Tots, especially when they have a little contest. I know a lot of times that these local powwows will give kids, they'll throw a bunch of toys or something out in the arena, or candy, or fruit sometimes, and they'll have the Tiny Tot dance, and it's a lot of fun to see. And sometimes some committees will be able to give $5 to each kid that comes out and dances. It's really something to see. I always give respect to those little kids by giving them money, and some places will give them $20 each, and it's like, oh man, that's a lot of money for, especially when we see how many Tiny Tots are out there. Sorry, I didn't mean to drink. But I just think about all the times we see these young kids. It makes me feel good. Like I said, it's a reciprocal relationship that makes us feel good, and us to see them, and for us to bring our spirits up and know that our traditions, our cultures, our music, our language is going to be carried on, because these kids are, in their outfits, in their dance regalia, in their dance clothes, and it's good to see. And I really enjoy seeing that. I can't wait to get back on the powwow trail and have the first powwow. I think right now looks like maybe Saquon around here. Maybe it looks like the Quimash. I'm not saying that right. San Ynez powwow all the way up in Santa Barbara. I don't know. It's a long ways to travel, but anyway, hopefully we'll have all our vaccinations. We'll be able to gather. I think outdoors will be the safest, and still maintain your 6 feet. Wash your hands. Take care of yourself. Take care of our little Tiny Tots. I know not everybody's getting their shots as far as young kids yet, but at the same time, I can't wait to dance. I have patience. Have patience. I know there's some. I know we really want to get out there and dance and see our young ones and dance ourselves, and just have patience. We'll get through it. We're almost there. Get vaccinated. Do everything you can to help this. Us come together as community, and also check in with everybody, our friends and relatives, our kids. A lot of our kids are graduating, and they're not going to be able to have a big graduation. I know last year a lot of kids didn't have a graduation, and it's kind of a little different, a little harsh, but at the same time, they'll grow and learn. Just check in with those kids, make sure that they're important. I think the most important thing is to know that, or to tell those young kids that they're important, even though they don't have a celebration or a graduation party or whatever it is. That they're still important, and they don't need that recognition that we do really care for them. And it's something I just want to kind of leave you with and think about as adults, as young kids. We're the role models. Whether we're dancing or we're doing, those young kids will always look up to us and watch us and emulate us. Like I said, they'll do bad stuff. If we do bad stuff, if we yell, they're going to yell, and we're going to teach them. We might not know that, but it happens, and it does. And it's funny when you get to witness that, but at the same time, it's not probably not a good thing. So be mindful of yourself, respectful at all times, and take care of yourself. I think next week we're going to talk about our dance talking circles. I think I had a request for us to talk about talking circles and just share kind of a meeting, maybe origin story of where it comes from, and what is a talking circle. I think right now it's just something to think about. So that's probably going to be the next topic to kind of let you know. I think in the future we're also going to be doing another taking care of your feathers segment. I have something planned. We're going to take apart some feathers that were used on a previous outfit and remake them into something new. I think, yeah. So that'll be fun. Just a sneak peek of what we have planned. And I know the Gona, Gona, we're having a Gona planning in a couple weeks, not a couple weeks, a couple months. So I think we're gonna do a virtual Gona again this year, because it's still kind of hard to gather because our kids are not all vaccinated. I worry about my kids or me bringing something back from wherever I go, even though I'm vaccinated. My son is not. I always worry about that. I know a lot of families are worried about that too. But anyway, we'll just for in the meantime, stay safe. Smudge, don't judge. Use your medicines and drink water and take care of yourself. Self-care is always important. So you guys have a good day, have a good evening, good night, whatever time you watch this. We'll check you guys out next week with talking about talking circles. All right, guys, have a good evening.